Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to One Hub season number 27. I am very, very excited to be getting this one underway. My name is Jaco, as you guys can see on your screens. I will be here for P2 for the entirety of the season, and again, I am looking so forward to how this is going to go down. As you say, my name is J. Cole, and joined now alongside me, who has literally just joined the Discord at the most perfect time possible. It is Mr. Jamie Met, of course, a returning face into full-time commentary of One Hub. Jamie, how are you doing this evening? I know you've just had a race, so yeah.
Yeah, I feel very good. It was a weird race, so the weather went a bit weird in our race, I'm not going to lie, but yeah, got fourth place, not too bad. I think I sort of overachieved a little bit in that race, so that's pretty good. My teammate got very unlucky though. He put about 2 laps of fuel, and that still wasn't enough. For some reason, he was draining fuel a lot in that race. But yeah, it was a good result for us and for me, and yeah, we had about 1 lap of dry conditions in our race, so I don't know, it's a bit bizarre.
Well, we'll see if that's going to be the same case for the P2 guys for this evening. Of course, we've had the weather conditions already given to us earlier on in a live stream by Jess and Colin, doing the pre-race talk show, I suppose you could call that. And the weather conditions for this evening or for the qualifying anyway, is due to be a very wet to overcast. And then for the race, it actually goes from very wet to overcast back to very wet. So the most typical British weather at of course, the Great British Track, that is Silverstone. Of course, run you through the calendar that we have got for this season, just so you guys are aware as to what is due to be coming for this season. So, of course, as you say, the first race of this season is at Silverstone. Next week, we are then over at Canada. Nice little week break, I suppose, for the bank holiday over in England. And then we've got Zandvoort at the very end of August, Monza, Spa, Baku, and then Imola, Singapore, Qatar, Austin, Mexico, and of course, finishing it in a nice classic style of Brazil. So yeah, I haven't really had the chance to talk to you about it, Jamie. What do you think of this calendar we've got for One Hub so far?
Yeah, it's very good. There's a couple of tracks which I'm not that keen on, but most of them are quite good, and I'm excited for Brazil last round. It's probably my strongest track on the season. It's last round, so if we need some points for a result, I feel confident about that. But yeah, the Baku, I'm not the greatest fan of, I'm not going to lie. And Qatar, last time I raced down there, I know you love Qatar, but I just had a terrible, god-awful race on there, so hopefully we're better on it in this game. But yeah, it's a good calendar, nice balanced calendar, and obviously we do what one of is if we have a real-life Grand Prix on the weekend, we have it at the same track in one up, so it gives that nice bit of symmetry, which is a good little touch.
Yeah, as you say, nice little bit of symmetry for that. I think we did try. Well, this was attempted last season, and it worked out quite well. So, obviously, guys over at the organisations that run the admin, should I say, the league admins, I've decided to bring that back, and I say it is quite a nice touch in terms of that. Do you feel like you're racing, or at least trying to replicate what the real life drivers are doing in terms of doing this for in One Hub? So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to go down with that. Of course, if you are new to One Hub, there are 3 different tiers. Of course, the P3 tier has just taken place. This here being the P2 tier, and P1 taking place in about an hour and a half's time, depending on how fast we can get through this in the P2 side of things. And just so you guys are aware of the lineups that we have for this, of course, it is all 20 drivers that are here they're not actually here this evening. We're missing 3 of them at the moment, but these are the lineups for this season. So we've got both Gazzaman and Sir Quinn in the McLarens. You've got Vitinho with Waze in the Ferraris, Jess and Larkin in the Red Bulls with Joe, and Salau in the Mercedes, Mikey and Maugs in the Aston Martin, Mr. Welsh Benjamin, and Iverbrun Mike, an all Welsh pairing in the Alpines. You got a Futilleri Dog and Richelieu in the Haas. RBs have Whipping Proverb and Fade, or Faged, I don't know how you say that one. Apologies for that. Papa Squatch and Rich in the Williams, and then Mokri and Lawrence in the Kick Saubers. Quite a few strong pairings there, Jamie. I mean, do you reckon any of those, is there a clear-cut winner of that, or what do you think of those guys?
Yeah, they're very good. I like the Williams pairing I like the Williams pairing because obviously Rich came ever so close to winning the P2 tier last season. Obviously lost out in the last corner, and Papa Squash, I've seen him racing, he's very good. I like the Red Bull pairing. Obviously two very experienced racers. Obviously obviously you used to be teammates to Larkin, I used to be teammates to Jess. So obviously no bias in the commentary box though, but yeah, I like to see them do well. And yeah, there's a few other teams I quite like, and it's quite an experience. I've raced a lot of these guys last season, so it'd be nice to see how they do this season. I like the McLaren pairing as well. So of Quinn and Gaza. Gaza obviously returning to league races, so he might be a bit slow to start off with, but I think he'll improve as it progresses through the season.
Yeah, no, certainly can do. So, I say I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go for this evening. Of course, as I say, this evening being at Silverstone, just so at least you can have a look as to a bit of the track knowledge on that. Previous winners, of course, in P1 tier was Tony and Mr. JR Mason, the previous winner in a P2 tier. Unfortunately, ran out of fuel, as Jamie had explained at the start of the stream. In the P3 tier this evening, so he didn't manage to take the win. I believe that was actually Jacob who took the win this evening, so it played, I think, the strategy perfectly in terms of that. But again, with the weather, it's going to be very tough to call who is going to be doing what for this evening. And again, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it's going to go down. And funny enough, the qualifying is now actually starting. So let us get straight over into qualifying now, as we have got Sir Gwyneth just making their way out of the pits at this current moment. As you can see, it is pretty much full wet. I'm very shocked that we're seeing a couple of people going on the inters. I think the wet tyres, just to get a feel for it, would probably be your best bet at the start of it. But again, I'm not the one that's actually driving it at the moment, so we'll see what's going to go down with this.
Yeah, I did. I went on in to start qualifying. It was a bit of a mistake because I felt like it probably cost me to start the race because I didn't have the because I struggled on the full wet start of the race. I think that was a mistake for me to go out on the inters. But yeah, I think this should dry up in the first. I think the first 6 minutes of the session will be full wets and they come back to the inters. So yeah, the full wets will be in play, and be interesting to see if the track dries enough for slicks. Obviously, we are set to approximate, so whatever happens in P3 will not necessarily happen in P2. That's what makes the weather even more interesting.
Yeah, no, it certainly will make it more interesting for sure. For some reason, I'm not sure what is going on with my overlay, but it seems to be just a little bit out of place. I'm not too sure why that is the case, but here we are. I will try and get that one sorted out. But in the meantime, yeah, as I say, a few guys that are out at the moment, just doing a couple of their out laps. Of course, yeah, Jess, Quinn, and then the two Aston Martins just following suit very, very closely. So, yeah, we'll see who's going to end up sort of coming out on top of that. I said very early on, it's chucking it down, so I don't expect us to see the fastest times at this current moment. But who's to say what we're going to see very, very soon in terms of who's going to be the one that comes out on top.
Yeah, I'm just going to bother a couple of guys in it, you can see how much it's struggling. It's got so much. It's like a drift setup they've got on. They're just struggling every single corner. So yeah, it's just a matter of survival and then just improving. These lap times will improve. We'll see that purple graphic come up a lot during this session. So expect to see the lap times tumble like a fruit machine. And I think Moggs is our first guy. Or I think Quinn's actually our first guy in the flying lap on the inters. And yeah, just going through the loop, you can just see it's just absolutely zero grip on them tyres. They're just not. There's too much water for them to work at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly is. So Quinn really struggling in that first sector, but we'll see what they're going to do at the end of their first sector in those intermediate tyres. It's 32.4. Quickly compared to Jess just behind. I think she also did roughly around 32 to 33 in terms of her lap time, or her first sector time, shall I say. But Quinn making his way around Luffield now and all the way up toward, or making their way now up towards Cops. Of course, the previous start finish straight, and we'll see if they're going to be able to, not going to be able to keep it flat, but are they going to be able to take it quite nicely through Cops. Try to take as much on the outside curb as possible now through the elusives of Maggots and Beckett, and of course Chapel to follow, taking it down in fifth, even jumping it down to fourth gear. So I think Quinn really struggling on these intermediate tyres to start off within the session. 1:16.0 as the sector split time. Jess 1:17.8. So Quinn on a little bit of a faster time than Jess at the moment, But of course, first set of runs, it's going to be tough to try and get it on point at the very start. But of course, Quinn now coming through the final club corners. Let's see what they're able to do as they try and put power as much down as possible to not get cars squirming as much as possible. 144.7 to kick it off over in the P2 tier here, Jamie. Jess just following a 47.7.
Yeah, it's just, you see the back end was just not liking that at all. There's a Richelieu who's going to finish a lap on the inters of the full wets. Obviously, he didn't have the best of times in the pre-season race. I think Jess took him out at the start of the race. Larkin there goes quicker. There's not much in it between Larkin and Quinn. It's very close so far. Mikey, you've got 3 temps between the top 3 on the full wets, on the inters. Obviously, we'll see how the full wets do. I think the full wets will be about 2 seconds lap quicker at this point. As Richelieu is going to cross the line. It's not the best lap for him, no, so far, and he's actually slower. That's quite a surprise. He must have made a mistake on his lap.
Yeah, I reckon that was probably a slight mistake from Richelieu in terms of that. I'd be expecting the wets to be roughly around the same, if not just a tiny little bit faster than the inters at the current moment. But, I mean, I'm getting proven wrong at the moment. Salau just coming through the Maggots, Beckett's and coming up towards Chapel. Probably one of the favourites to win in the P2 tier, of course, with Larkin. And I think it was Fade as well last week, getting an impressive P3 at Hungary. So maybe they're one to challenge out for, for the likes of Salau and for Larkin as well. But yeah, Quinn doing a very good time. I thought they would look like they were struggling through that, but they actually did a pretty decent time in the intermediate conditions of that.
Yeah, maybe it's turned already because nobody's really. I think Salou might get pole here, but yeah, it's definitely allowing the favour of the full wets. Salou's now struggling on the full wets, but yeah, he just go quicker. That's how Pop Lap on the full wets is done there. He was right about 2 seconds. He's done the 33.0, so he's the first guy to do the full wets. But I think now the full wets are probably had it because you can see the track is looking at a lot drier than it did 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it certainly does, and you can definitely see, even just looking on board with Moki, of course, Axelot's brother, just how he's getting on through Luffield, and you can just see the rain, it's still drizzling, but it's not that heavy, and Jess now jumping up ahead of her teammate up into 2nd position, so I think the times are going to start to make their way down now, as a few more of the drivers are just staying out on those inters, just getting a few more laps under the belt in the wet, because of course, like I said earlier in the stream, it is also a very wet to overcast to very wet race this evening, so it is all going to be chopping and changing, and we will see who will be the one that comes out on top in terms of the qualifying, because it's going to be very difficult to overtake with no DRS, I think.
No, definitely, and obviously the dirty air effect much larger in this game. I struggled, I was behind cars, even on the different tyre, and I was struggling so much to overtake, and I do expect the pit lane to be extremely busy tonight, and obviously we had no safety cars in our race, but if we have a safety car in this race, it's going to make the tyre choice very interesting, because if you gamble and get it right, you'll save so much race time. So if we do get any safety cars, then it's going to be just to see what tyres the guys go on.
Yeah, certainly do. As you say, it could be the case of once that safety car does come out, it could be getting close to dry. I know we didn't see it in the P3 tier, or we did for maybe a brief lap or two. But yeah, we'll see if it's going to be the case in the P2 tier. As Papa Squanch, a very, very satisfying 141.141 lap time.
Nice symmetry.
Yeah, exactly. Got to love a bit of symmetry with that. So yeah, Papa Squanch now on top, and Nat Williams. And yeah, the times are definitely going to be starting to come down. Larkin, I was just on board with 2.5 seconds up on his time now, looking to try and challenge Papa Squanch within this final sector here.
Yeah, I expect you to be quite close to that lap once. Obviously, the final sector, you probably feel like another second in the final sector, so you'll probably be extremely close to that lap there. So yeah, Papa, I was in a practice session the other night, and he looks very, very quick. So he, as you said earlier, he's a guy to look out for. Obviously, won a race last season, and he hasn't really had a title. He hasn't won a title yet, but he's doing good for it there. And then Larkin on pole by a tenth of a second, so still extremely close. But yeah, we'll get into the 39s and the 38s pretty soon. I think we'll just improve every single lap you do. Even if you're on no ERS, you find you improve. So just getting more and more confidence around this track. As Joe's on the cross line now, what can he do? He does a 42.3. I don't think he optimised that lap as much as he would have liked.
No, Whooping Proverb as well, also coming across the line to just chuck it just behind Joe. So pretty close times all the way from Ways down to, well, even towards Ride Dog. I know he just put on a lap down into 7:42.5 as well. So Yeah, times are starting to definitely make their way down, and I think we're waiting for a couple more guys to make their or to complete a lap. Rich, Mount, and either Bryn Mike, and I think Mike has actually just made his way back into the pits, so we'll be waiting a little bit more time for the Welshman to complete a lap. As me and him always like to banter about it, Mr. Ivor Spin Mike going to try and take a bet as to when we're going to see our first Ivor Spin Mike of the season. I reckon it could be tonight whilst it is raining. So
Yeah.
we'll see if Mike is going to prove me right or if he's going to prove me wrong in terms of his Ivor Spin Mike.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't have many as a Massa on 2018 or Leclerc this year. Hopefully he keeps it to the minimum. But yeah, it's good to see him. Obviously, I think he did quite well last season at P1 tier, and I think this team's more to his liking as Jester goes up to third place. So the Red Bulls, they're looking good so far. They're looking quite impressive. And yeah, I think Mike will have a solid season. I think he'll have some good results. And I think he might get a podium somewhere. I just have a sense he'll bag a podium on these crazy races.
Yeah, no, he certainly could do. I mean, like you say, he did have a pretty good season in P1 last season, so I think he's definitely one to look out for a potential outlier as well. Mikey, that was another one that we may need to keep our eye out for. 139.6, the first one into the 30s, and yeah, these conditions are definitely lightening up now. Mags making his way around the final part of the Cup corner and up towards the line. This looks like it's also going to be in the 30s. It might even beat Mikey's. It is. It's a 38.9.
Wow.
So, these times are coming down.
They're two rookies as well. This is their first ever race, and that's quite impressive. Obviously, the Aston Martin guys really impressing up their home race, which is just the Aston Martin factory is just a stone throw away from Silverstone's circuit. So yeah, good to see them do so well. And yeah, but as you say, that lap, I won't be surprised at the end of the session if a 38.9 is a back of the grid. So we've still got a lot of improvement to do on the track. As I say, I think Larkin's on a lap here. Let's see what he can do. He's coming through Copse corner now. Is it a bit more? Yeah, it's in 6th gear now. Oh, it's a bit of a more curb, and it was 5th gear before. Now it's 6th gear. So they are getting quicker and quicker. Marcus and Beckett's. It looks, the back end looks a little bit not what you would like, I don't think, through there, but he's carried good speed through there, and he is 2 seconds up. So I think Larkin's on for maybe getting this pole back, as Quinniff has moved up to 2nd place in the McLaren, only a couple of 100,000 behind Moggs.
Yeah, certainly are, and I say a few people just coming across the line to start a lap to also finish their lap. Gazaman just in front of Larkin is just coming across the line, chucks it up into P4 with a 140.9. I think that was also Waze making his way across the line, but yeah. Larkin as well at 138.5. So 3 drivers coming across the line, improving their times into 1st to 4th and to P6. One of the Aston Martins just coming across the line as well of Mikey. I think we just had a little bit of a cool down lap, but now going once again on these intermediate tyres as Richelieu coming across the line on a fresh set of inters to go into P5.
Yeah, good to see. And obviously the fresh set will have an impact. Obviously you see some of these guys on 5 laps. I think some of these guys haven't pitted, they've just done back consecutive laps. So I expect to see some of these guys now coming to the pits as Phage to obviously is in 2nd place. That's a good lap there for him, and he is backed off completely. Will he have enough time to come in the pits and do another one? I think it'll be touch and go unless he's got enough fuel to go again. But yeah, that's a good lap by him. As who else is on that flying lap? We'll see, as I believe Salu's on a lap. He is coming down the hangar straight. How far is he up? He is 4.8 seconds up. So he could be, even if he's lap, he'll be up there as well. 4.8 seconds. He'll be in around the 38s, maybe in the 37s. I don't think we're quite there yet for 37, but I think he'll be in the 38s when he finishes his lap. Coming through these final 2 corners, the club section, it's such a pain. It's so easy just to get too eager on the throttle or hit the curb or spin out, but he does it quite nicely there across the line. I think this might be 37, you know. It is a 37.1. Wow, what a lap.
Impressive lap from Salau. 37.1. The first one in the 37 was 1.4 seconds up ahead of Larkin. That is a statement that he is trying to make to say, I am here to try and hold on to this P2 title. So, yeah, Salau, see what he's going to be able to do for this evening. Larkin has definitely got a tall order for him. He's coming in to change his intermediates as Mikey comes across the line now. 37.775 for the Aston Martin. So, it's definitely going to be here, Jamie, where the last person, and we saw it in the P3 tier as well, the last person coming across the line is going to have the best opportunity. We've just got under 4 minutes left to go, as Moki just go 1,000th of a second up ahead of Mikey now as well. So, yeah, the lap times are now starting to come in. Rich and Iver Mike, the only two still yet to put a time on the board, as Mike just making his way through Maggots, Beckett's, and through Chapel now as well. Not on an actual lap from the looks of things. I think he's just on a bit more of a cool down lap, just to warm up his inters a little bit more.
Yeah, you mentioned Ivor Swim, Mike. I was on board with him through Cops, and we had Ivor drift, Mike. He had a massive drift through there. Didn't spin it quite, but nearly did. He's in the pits now. That's going to be quite tight for him. Going to the pits now, I think he should be okay, but that's going to be quite tight. You have to be out of the pit lane around 2 minutes 20, so he's leaving it very tight there to get a fresh set of tyres on. So Ivor Mike is under a bit of pressure here to get this lap in.
Yeah, he certainly is. So with 3 minutes now left to go, a couple of guys still out on the circuit, so they'll either be looking to complete their laps on this lap or the next lap, or they are going to be coming in and that will be their times done, essentially. Yeah, Mike is just coming in. I can also see a Williams that has just come in. I believe that to be Papa Squant's just coming into the pit, so we'll be seeing Rich come out on the circuit very, very soon. Rydog, he's just actually making his way around Club Corner, invalidated on his lap time, unfortunately. I believe he was actually up on his time, so he's going to be gearing up to go for one more run. Yeah,
38, yeah. 38. Joe is coming through the club now. He's about 3 seconds up, so he probably put him in around the top 10, I reckon. This lap he gets it in through Club Corner now. Where's he going to go? He's going to go up to 5th place, so a bit of improvement there, but I don't think he'll stay there. I think he'll have to get another. He's got enough time to cool down and go for another lap, so he's just about going to be okay for that. But yeah, he might actually be the last guy across the line. We'll keep an eye on that and see how it goes, but. Yeah, a bit unfortunate there for Rydog to invalidate on a decent lap as well. He's going to go again though. He's 1.3 seconds up, but his battery won't be in the best place on 40%, and that's not optimal really for a qualifying lap down here.
No, it certainly isn't. I'm just running on board with Mopi at the moment. It's sitting in P2, 1,000 up ahead of Mikey, 300ths down on the first sector. He's looking to do his final lap on this run now. Mikey does come into the pits to retire from the session, so best he's going to be is in 3rd position for his qualifying, but with how much the circuit is improving, I do expect Mikey to be dropping down those positions exponentially. As Salau, a 36.5, goes another 6/10 of a second faster.
Wow.
First one into the 36s, trying to put the pressure on everybody else, but that is going to be Salau's qualifying all done and dusted. Whether that was a bit too early for him to go for that, as a few other guys, they're on their outlaps now getting ready to go for one more lap.
Yeah, I think he might have gone a bit early because obviously now he can't. He's got to have to go for another push lap here. I think his first sector's like, no, he's backed out of it, so he's done. He's over. His quality's over now, so he's going to have to hope these guys don't improve as there's a lot of guys now starting their lap or on out laps, so we'll see this timing board really go all the shop here, I think.
Yeah, we certainly will. So, who is going to be the next, or the first one that's going to be coming across the line? Again, Mokri has actually just started a lap once again. I think he backed off midway through his, what I thought would be his final run, but he's now looking to go for it now.
Moggs is on the lap here. He's going to cross the line, flying lap, and he's going to get enough lap, and he's enough back range, he's going to go up to 2nd place.
Beautiful stuff from Moggs into 2nd position. A couple of guys behind who's going to be able to do it. Rich just missed out on getting a lap done. Same with Mike. So Mike and Rich at the very back of the field fade as well. Best he's starting is in P9. So first people that are going to be coming across the line, of course, Salau we've already seen has put his lap time on the board. It is another McLaren though, believe, of Gazaman. 2 seconds up at the end of the 2nd sector, now making his way through the club chicane. We'll see what he's able to do, see if he's able to maybe chuck it in towards the top 5 and put a bit of pressure on those guys out in front of him. Comes across the line into 6th position, 138.348. We've then got the 2 passes making their way around the last chicane as well. Richelieu and Rydog 5/10 of a second up on his time, so again I'm going to try and put a bit more pressure on those guys in front. Richelieu into 3rd position, Rydog is going into 6th position. So the Haas is making that major improvement there, Jamie.
Yeah, Waste up to third. Good lap there by Waste. Definitely impressive lap there by him. It's his first time in a middle tier one hub racing, so good lap from him. What can Moki do? He's not really improving, I don't think. No, he does go to fourth. So he had a really good last sector there, because I think his middle sector wasn't that great. Joe barely improves by 1,000. Papa Squanch has gone on pole, so he's going to break the heart of Salo, and he is on pole position. And Quinneth's gone up to third position, so what can Larkin do? He's going to be last across the line, I believe. Can he get pole position? Only fourth.
Wow. That proves that. And Mugs, final one across the line. No improvement. Of course, he did that improvement on the second to last one as well. So, yeah, what a qualifying session that was. Papa Squanch chucking it on pole position. I think that was, I know Jess was saying it beforehand that he's been doing a lot of practicing and is looking very quick. I wasn't expecting it to be pole position for Papa Squanch, but he's proven me wrong with that. Salau in second position with Quinn in third and Larkin in fourth. Mounts in fifth with Waze in sixth. Moki in seventh. Mr. Welsh Benjamin in eighth. Richard Lou in ninth and Jess rounding out that top 10. Mikey in 11th with Rydog in 12th. Whipping Proverb in 13th with Gazaman in 14th. Joe B in 15th. Fade in 16th. And then Mike and Rich 500. The only two to not put a time on the board, sadly, for those guys as well. Yeah, very, very interesting qualifying session. And now, of course, is time for the fun part of everybody crashing into each other whilst we get the lobby restarted so we can get the correct weather put in for the race as well. But in terms of that qualifying there, Jamie, anybody surprise you in particular?
I think Quinn. Quinn in third. That's a big surprise for me because he didn't have the best of seasons last season. He's always had the raw pace, but he just doesn't really optimise it last season, the P2T. So I think Quinn is the biggest surprise. And I think the biggest disappointment, I think, is probably Joe. I expected a bit better from him. I don't think he got a great lap in though, and I think Salo may be kicking himself because I think if he got his timing a bit better, he would have had the pole there because he's only 2.5 tenths off, and he finishes lap about 2 minutes before everybody else. So I think Salo might be kicking himself there. I think he lost the pole just because of his timing of the lap.
Yeah, no, I definitely think he did as well, which is very sad to see with that. But of course, yeah, I think there was definitely a few surprises in terms of that. On the qualifying side of things. I think biggest disappointment, of course, both Mike and Rich didn't actually get a lap on the board. Rich just left it a tiny bit too late. I don't know if he was backing off to get a lap ready, but it was definitely the worst timing for him and made it so that he wasn't able to get a lap on the board. Starting at the very back of the grid. I expect to be seeing him making a few positions up, but again, in this rain, I think it's going to be a very, very tall order.
Very difficult.
Yeah, definitely very difficult with that.
Overtaking almost impossible, and no DRS to help you, and obviously he's not going to dry up till probably about more than halfway into the race. So he's going to have to get a demon start, I think, and he's going to have to hope that the guys at the back aren't too slow because he'd be stuck behind them. So he's going to have to be very bold. We'll have to see maybe some dive bombs to overtake really, because it's just this track is just so difficult to pass. Not as bad as the reverse layout. And thank God they aren't racing there because that's a lot worse to overtake. At least he got some overtaking spots on this track. But yeah, as I've been Mike, he should return. Why he's not retiring his car? He's going to be getting a grid penalty, but it doesn't even matter because he's at the back of the grid anyway. But anyway.
I'm sure he probably wants a grid penalty so he can start at the very back of the grid instead of Rich. So he's finally done that. So that brings us actually really quickly to a pre-race interview that we had with Miss Jess Ball herself. She was asked how she was feeling. I'll start that again. How she was feeling heading into the season ahead, and she came back with a response of saying she's really excited to get going, worked hard during qualifying weeks to get into the middle tier for the first time, and it paid off, and that she is ready for the challenge ahead for the season. And judging by the qualifying as well, I think she's definitely one that is a lot better in the racing than in qualifying. It's just in terms of trying to get the strategy right for her, and I do expect to see Jess at least a few times within the top 5 this season. And there's a couple of tracks that she does favour in this calendar as well. So I think there's going to be a couple of tracks that we're going to see Jess, try and fight for a podium spot. Maybe she could even potentially be on the podium for the season.
I know a track where she can do that. Qatar. She's rapid around there. She absolutely loves that track. She's like she won the sprint race in the P2 tier last season. So yeah, I think Qatar, I expect Jess to do really well. And I know Jess she didn't like the wet condition. I know she prefers the dry conditions. I don't really see her true potential in that qualifying session. I think she can. I think she's definitely midfield, and maybe on the day she can fight for a podium. There's so many drivers in this tier I think can win the title. It's probably the closest tier in one hub racing.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you in terms of that as well. So we'll see how they're able to get on in terms of this season ahead. Of course, as you say, as we were talking about previously as well, you've got the likes of Larkin, you've got the likes of Salau, Fade as well in that preseason race, now proving what they're about, as Papa Squant as well starting to pole for this race. Quinn looks pretty close as well. So it doesn't look like it's just going to be one person that's just going to be dominating the entire field. But again, you don't win it in qualifying, you do win it when it comes to the actual race. So, again, anything can happen in terms of that as well.
Yeah, for sure. As we're going to wait for the grid to be set up, and we'll get going very shortly. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. And what's your who do you think is going to be taking this win tonight? Out of interest.
If I had to go for someone, I mean, from what I've just seen in qualifying, the fact that they were 2 and a bit tenths up ahead of everybody else, I have to say Papa Squanch. I don't want to try and seem biased and say, oh yeah, Larkin's just going to absolutely wipe the field, because I know how much he loves a bit of wet weather. But yeah, from that qualifying, I think Papa Squanch thoroughly impressed me in that qualifying. So I'd have to say he looks like he could potentially be taking a win for this evening.
Yeah, no, I think Papa Squanch, another driver who is quicker in a race. Well, on the last game, I'm not sure about this game. I know in the old last game, he wasn't that great in quali, but his race prompts were really strong. So yeah, he could be a strong contender. And I think Salah's very quick, but he's actually yet to win a race in one hub. And last season, Instant really let him down a little bit. He should have won a race last season, but I think he just had one or two messy incidents. So yeah, he's going to be a tough competitor. But yeah, you cannot rule out. I think any of the top 10 grid come in this race. It's wide open, and this weather is going to make it very interesting, because a good strategy call can just elevate you through the field, and you've just got to be on the, as Martin Mundell says, you've got to be on the right time at the right time. That's what you have to do, really. You just have to, even if you think it's slower, it will pay out for you in the end.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, just got to make sure that you're on the correct strategy at the correct time, and hope that other people around you aren't. And if they are, then I suppose a bit of overtaking isn't going to hurt anybody. But yeah, that actually will then bring us on over to our sponsors. May as well go through them whilst we are waiting for the lobby to be set back up. So, first sponsor, of course, being Next Level Racing. Of course, big shout out to those guys. If you want to check out Next Level Racing, it should be down below as well. They sponsor a league by providing some prizes each season. So again, if you want to check them out, it should be nextlevelracing.com. Next one, and it is actually a brand new sponsor. I'm sure heard talked about quite a few times in the P3 tier. It is, of course, Sim Racing Setups. Yes, they are now the sponsor for the or to One Hub for this season as a brand new sponsor. If you are wanting to get a discount on the best sim racing car setups for F125 and more, use code OneHubRacing at checkout for 5% off, as you can see on your screens. So big shout out to, of course, Sim Racing Setup for that one as well. Pure Sim Gear as well, for providing, I believe, the Going Gets Tough award. I believe that's also for Vespertine, if I am not mistaken. I will have to double check. I should have had a double check before this had started off, but yeah, they are providing they're providing actually some socks and gloves to the driver with the most fastest laps and pole positions over the course of the season. Use code OHR10P to get 10% off at Pure Sim Gear. And as I just mentioned as well, our very own Salau, who is, of course, the main owner for Vespertine, and they are providing, they are basically the people that provide our app for One Hub, providing some great merchandise and some great prizes for the season. And of course, our final sponsor being at SimGrid. Of course, without SimGrid, we'd be using a lot of the Google Drives and spreadsheets, and everybody knows but dealing with spreadsheets can be a bit of a pain. So these guys just make it miles easier for ourselves. So big shout out to SimGrid, of course. If you want to check that out, you can go onto thesimgrid.com. If you wanted to have a look on OneHub as well, you can just type in OneHub Racing and it should be popping up to check out all of the different standings, qualifying and calendar, all on there for yourselves as well. I also do seem to see a very familiar name in the chat. Someone I haven't seen in quite some time, Mr. Luke Etheridge. Good evening, my friend. I wasn't expecting you this evening, but hey ho. I hope you are doing well, and I hope everything is all good with you.
Yeah, I remember Luke and this. I remember our infamous charity race on F1 2019 when during lockdown, and me and Luke were racing, and me and Luke with only 2 guys to stay on inters in a full wet, and we didn't know it was full wet, so we weren't racing about them. But yeah, and I remember I did a call where safety car came out for obviously being too wet, and I thought lap to go, I thought I'd pit for inters, and everyone was laughing at me, and then so the safety car came out, it was inters, and I was in the lead, so they weren't laughing at me anymore. But yeah, that brings up an interesting point though. Obviously, on this game, you can't start the race on intermediates. Now, I don't think I'd advise that, but I wonder if anybody will in this lobby.
I suppose only time will tell. I think someone might do just to, I was going to say try and avoid a pit stop, but it is a mandatory 2-stop in OneHub. So maybe they'll start on a set of the inters just to see if it's quicker. Or maybe they'll do that and just go on a set of wets or something. I definitely would say the best thing to do would be to start on a wets from the looks of it. If anyone tries to start on the inters, I will probably say that they'll just jump up towards the back end of the grid.
Yeah, might do it at the back. I remember Hungary a few seasons ago, somebody did that from pole, and they literally were on pole and they fell to like last place in about 2 corners. So yeah, I don't think it's advisable. And if it's a one-stop race, maybe, but if we mandate 2-stop, I don't really see the point. And you're just going to lose so much time in the first couple of laps, especially in our race where the inters, full wets lasted about 10 laps. So obviously it might be different in this race, but we'll wait and see.
We certainly will wait and see. I don't think we've got long wait or a long time to wait, as Jess has given the go-ahead to everybody in the P2 tier. So we are just waiting for everybody to ready up, and we will get this one straight underway. Papa Squanch will be, I believe, on the right-hand side of your screen, and it will be Solau on the left-hand side of your screen. Who's going to be the one that comes out on top for the first time this season in OneHub for the P2 tier? We are underway. A very slow getaway being in the full wets, but it looks like Papa Squanch has managed to hold on to the lead. A little bit of a squirm, though, as at the second phase of it. He's actually opted to start on the intermediate tyres. Solau all around the outside in towards turn number 2. Going to have the inside for turn number 3. Papa Squanch and Solau still side by side of each other, making their way now around the loop. Papa Squanch has lost out the lead of the race. Might even lose out second position as Mal's now trying to go around the outside and coming on towards what would normally be the first DRS straight. Of course, not going to be any DRS in these wet conditions or on the first lap. Still both side by side of Malgs and Papa Squanch. Squanch going to hold it down the inside. Not going to be able to maintain that position. Malgs is going to have the inside going around Luffield. And yeah, that's Papa Squanch now jumping down into third, maybe even into fourth. He's a massive tank slapper coming out of Luffield.
Very sliding. Yeah, extremely sliding. He's just got to try and survive. You've got to try and survive. So the Inter guys started. There's half the field started Inters. I'm quite surprised that many have. And yeah, they're just all over the place. I'm over with Larkin there. Larkin's having similar struggles, and Quinn behind. They're just falling down the order. But if this rain stops, it could work out for them. But they're just going to be about. They're just got to try and hang on. But it's going to be so difficult for them because they're not going to get a temperature in their tyre at this stage. And you know, the guys behind the full wets have to make their moves now, like of Mikey and Moki and Rydog. They have to get past these guys ASAP, really.
They certainly do, and it looks like Mikey might be trying to eye something up on Sir Quinnif out in front for P6. Not going to be able to go for anything at the moment as Aston Martin. Couple of guys looking like they're trying to get a little bit racy up behind them, though. Rich 500, by the way, moved up 5 positions already, so he's up into 13th position on those intermediate tyres, funnily enough, as down the inside goes Rydog to try and go for a move on Moki going through the club chicane, or going out of club corner, sorry. Moki manages to hold it, but has a massive tank slapper. Couple guys actually had a bit of it coming out of the, or coming up towards the final corner, and you can already see a massive gap has formed between both Moki and Sir Quinnif. Ways as well, losing sight to the top 2. Malgs looks like he's trying to give Solau a very good race. And yeah, as you're saying, I'm quite surprised at the amount of people that did start on a set of the intermediate tyres. Maybe they knew something that we didn't, and that the Inters are going to be a much better, probably in like 2 laps time, and the range is going to die down that much.
Yeah, obviously these guys have had a bit more time practice than us P3 guys did. So yeah, maybe they found a bit of a meta strategy here. But I just don't think it's going to work out for them. I just think it's too risky. And obviously, if a safety car does come out, I expect to see the majority of guys pit for Inters. So there's not really going to. There'll be a. It might work out for them if a safety car comes out. I think that's what maybe they're gambling on. Maybe a safety car, because obviously, but. At the moment, they're going to cause a safety car, because I'm seeing guys on 4 wets struggle. I don't know what it'll be like on the Inters. If guys on 4 wets are sliding around, what will it be like on the intermediate tyres? I do not know.
Yeah, I'm sure those guys on the Inters are really struggling. I mean, as you say, Papa Squanch, the one that was actually putting it on pole position, he's 1.5 seconds now behind Waze, and Mikey is all over the back of Larkin, coming on towards the hangar straight now. Is Mikey going to be able to go for any sort of move coming out of Chapel? He looks like he had a bit of a poor run out of there, so I think Larkin is going to live to see another day in 5th position. Waze now, by the way, has now lost 2 and a bit seconds to the likes of Bugs and Salau out in front, as Quinn having a little bit of a slide as he made his way out of the Stowe corner, and now has a little bit of a train former behind him with the likes of Mikey's, Rydog and Benjamin.
Yeah, Mikey's got through on Quinn there, and he's on the back of Larkin and Papa, and you want to get this done. Yeah, I think Wace maybe Wace is pretty sure he's not a fan of these 4 wets, because he's drifting like a D1 GP car on an F1 car. That's not how you drive in the 4 wet. It's just, if you do that all the time, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. I think Wace maybe slightly overdriving the car at the moment.
Yeah, he certainly looks like he could be, just to try and hold on up ahead of Papa Squanch and try and keep up with those guys in the top 2. Larkin looks like he's made a little bit of inroad on Papa Squanch out in front of him. He was about 1.2 behind him at one point, has now dropped it down to just under 1 second. So I think he's starting to find a little bit more grip on these intermediates. I thought Mikey would have been past him by now if the wets were that much better, but he doesn't seem to have made any sort of manoeuvres on him at the moment. So maybe these Inters are starting to look like a bit more of a better tyre. I think the rain is starting to ease down ever so slightly. You can still see it quite a bit, but I think it is definitely looking like it's going to be getting into Inters pretty soon. So the guys that started on them maybe getting closer to having their advantage.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm on board with the guys at the back, and they are really struggling. Mike's just gone off track there, and he's allowed Richelieu through, and Gazzaman's.
Yeah, Gazman, I think, is trying to eye up a move on Rich for P14. Rich, again, has lost sight from Fade, who only passed him, I think it was about a lap ago. So it's still proven that these wet tyres are definitely the better ones, as Rydog getting the inside, or going down the inside of Mokri, making their way into the final chicane out of Cup Corner, and is now up into 8th position. Only time that we're actually going to start to tell is when we're going to see all of the drivers basically put in their fastest laps. Once we see that, then we're going to start to see that it is becoming to the interconditions, and at that point we'll probably then start to see most of the guys on those wet tyres make their way into the pits. Mouse, by the way, has now lost out that touch to Solau. So Solau's still driving a very nice race within these first 4 laps. Drops that 1 second gap to Mouse, so no slipstream for him. Waze also dropping back even further from Mags now as well. So yeah, Papa Squanch, in fact, he's starting to gain back on the Ferrari.
Yeah, I think he's starting to come back to him a bit. Yeah, I think the fastest laps are getting closer and closer between the 2. And yeah, there is visibly less spray on track. I still think it is slightly in favour of the 4 wets, but I think the next 2 or 3 laps at the crossover point, and this has actually worked out very well for these guys to gamble on this, because they're going to get a lot of time, and if it's a position where they have to make 2 stops naturally with the changeable weather, then it has been a master strokes out. And maybe we're a bit dismissive of this strategy. I don't know, but if it looks like working out for them, as Papa is now closing on Wace. Obviously Wace is struggling, but Papa's only about 6 seconds off the lead, 5 seconds off the lead. So yeah, this is working out well nicely.
Yeah, it certainly is. And again, even just a little bit further behind as well, you can see Quinn is now starting to gain onto the back of Mikey. He's now only 0.4 of a second, as Mikey is actually coming into the pits. The first one to make a pit stop this evening in One Hub. And the Salah, there you go, fastest lap of the session on 44.935. When we start to see the intermediates making those fastest laps, then we will know it is definitely time for the inters. But Mikey coming in, Joe coming in for a set of what I'd be presuming are the intermediate tyres. Making the first of at least 2 stops in terms of their strategy for this evening. But does that mean that we will be having some dry weather a bit later on then, Jamie? Or do you reckon they're probably going to have to make 3 stops?
I think they'll have to make 3 stops because it looks a lot dry in our stage in P3. So yeah, we did a practice race earlier, and how it normally goes is that it should dry out, and I think that's got 6 again. There's got contact there between Wace and Papa Squanch. Papa went on the outside and Wace hit him, and he spun round there. And Wace, I think now it's time for inters because them full wets they just got no grip. Papa went in round the outside and pretty easy there into Luffield corner, and I think Squanch is now starting. The gap is now starting to equalise between the leaders and the inters guys. So I think Sallow and Muggs want to pit this lap because you don't want to lose too much time. You want to be, they have to come in this lap. They have to pit this lap. They're just starting to lose bucket loads of time to intermediate guys now. You see the full wet guys are really struggling.
Yeah, those guys on those full wets, and especially those top 2, they're definitely going to be considering coming into the pits this lap. Both of their teammates have, so I'll be presuming that both of them will be coming in this lap. They certainly are. Salau and Maugs into the pits now, so that will inherit Papa Squanch back into the lead of the race. Larkin in second with Quinn in third. I'm assuming we'll also be seeing Waze coming into the pits. Rydog hasn't opted to come into the pits, very interesting enough, and neither has Welsh Benjamin. And neither has Monqui. So all 3 of them on the wets have opted to stay out. Fade has also opted to stay out, not going on a set of the inters. So I wonder what's going on with
that. I wonder if these guys are staying out with 4 wets and hoping it dries out really, really quick and trying to save a pit stop and go on slicks. But that means they have to make 1 stop at the end. That means they'll have to hope it rains again at the end. So maybe they're thinking of a gamble where the track's going to dry out really quick. But I don't really work out for them because if you're on the full wet on inter track, you lose about 5 seconds a lap easy. So I don't think it's going to work out for them. I think they should have pitted that lap. You've got to minimise your loss. If you try and be too clever, then it just doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it certainly wouldn't. So the guys that are on those wets, I think they're going to be losing out massively, sadly. We'll see. I mean, again, if there's a safety car, I'm sure that they'll be absolutely laughing, but I don't know if that's what they're gambling for, is for a safety car. But yeah, I think, if anything, I think they've ruined their strategy a bit, and they're now going to be put under pressure by the likes of Jess, Rich, Gazman, all behind them, who are catching up to the back of Fade. In fact, Fade has now got that massive train behind him, as Salah and Maugs both almost going side by side of each other, as Maugs trying to see if he can put any pressure onto Solau, who I would say was the net race leader because he's already done 1 stop. Goes wide out of Cops, and it's going to allow Maugs now to try and go around the outside in towards Magnus and Beckett's and gets the move done on Solar. So now into P13. But again, with all of these guys in front of them that haven't made a pit stop as of yet, technically, Maugs is now our net race leader.
Yeah, he is, but this traffic's going to cost them bucket loads. They have to pass these slow guys on the old tyres pretty. They have to be very clinical because Papa and Larkin, they had on older tyres, but they've got clean air, so they're going to have to be very clinical, these passes, as I believe Moki's in the pits, and the other guys have stayed out, so I think they're gambling on it drying up. But yeah, look at Mokes, he's trying to get past the Haas here, but the Haas is defending pretty well. A bit of contact there, I think he just about survives, but look how much time he's lost. He's lost a second to the leader in them 2 corners, and where's Salone on? So Salone's further back, so he's dropped back. But yeah, they're losing so much time behind these slower cars, but they are racing, so they are allowed to fight. But yeah, this strategy's not working out for them so far.
No, it certainly isn't. And Salah was actually trying to go up the inside of Mags into the final corner. Got a little bit of a squeeze on and touched, I think, too much of the inside curb. Made him drop back ever so slightly from the Aston Martin. But here we go. Now we're going to see him make this move on the Haas. The Haas trying to go a little bit defensive on the Aston Martin. But Mags now on the inside of Richelieu. And I don't think there's much that a Haas is going to be able to do, making their way through Luffield, or coming up towards Luffield now, sorry. So, yeah, I think that's now Mags up into 10th position, putting a car between him and Salau. But then again, Salau trying to get down on the power as much as possible. As you can see, got a little bit too tailwind happy on that. And he's going to see if he can maybe go for something at the exit of Cops, as Richelieu goes a little bit wide coming out of Cops. Solau now down the inside, going in towards Maggots and Beckett's. The Haas is going to have to give that one up. Now up into 10th and 11th position, respectively, for the pair of them. But that is a costly amount of time that they've lost from those guys out in the lead.
Yeah, it was, the gap to leader was 20 seconds. It's now 23. It's lost 3 seconds. That's just behind one car. So what about behind the other cars? Yeah, but I think Rich is very clever there. I think Rich, I think he knew with Baggers Beckett, but there's no point fighting it. So he backed out of it. It was Rydog and Benjamin in the pits, and well, I think they've just did a no man land strategy. They should have. I think they committed that long before Wets, and may well just stayed out and go for slicks. I'm quite surprised. Either bring Mike's in the pits, another set of inters. He's got 10-second pit lane penalty. I'm going to make a prediction. That won't be our last 10-second penalty of the day.
Yeah, that'll be our first one, but as you say, I'll be surprised if that is going to be our last one. I think we'll see if anybody else is going to opt to speed in the pits when they make their way in. Only a few pitters so far. Mike, of course, being the first one to pick up that penalty. He will have to serve that, unfortunately. It won't be able to get removed because he's going to have to make another pit stop anyway. So, sadly for Mike, that is going to end up being served.
Mouse
down inside. Yeah, very good move from him of getting that done.
Very decisive, and now Salo's going to go around the outside of Lovefield. We'll see. One effort, it's a very difficult corner in the wet. So you want to put the throttle on, but you know you can't. It's just such a frustrating corner in the wet weather. But yeah, he's been sensible, and I don't think Provo wants to fight this too much. But you can't just let a guy through because you just lose so much time. But yeah, they're making. I've got to actually gap Marks has pulled on Salo already. It's over a second, so getting that move done there is really decisive. And now not far back of Gazette and Rich, and I think Rich and Gaza, I think their tyres are just about gone off because they're just struggling so much. I was on board with Gaza there, and his rear end just didn't look nice at all.
Yeah, these guys on these inters are definitely struggling now, even though I say that Larkin has just set the fastest lap of the race on his 8-lap old intermediate tyres, and he's all over the back of Papa Squatch now. He's whipping Proverb into the pits, the first one on these sets of intermediate tyres into the pits with Richelieu. So both of them not happy on their intermediate tyres. And Gazaman now under pressure, as you say, from Moggs, and see if he's going to end up getting overtaken. Maybe going down in towards turn number 3. The Aston Martin is trying to push as much as possible going through turn 1 and turn 2, but backs off of not being able to go for a move on the McLaren at the moment. So it's going to try and eye it up as they make their way down or coming up towards the first DRS straight. Are we going to see the Aston Martin get this move done? Of course, no DRS in these wet conditions, as I was mentioned earlier. Going to use it on the pure overtake though, and pure slipstream gets the move done on the McLaren. Now up into 6th position. You've got Rich 500 just out in front of him. And I know Rich is not going to be a slouch in terms of, letting these guys through. He's going to try and put up as much of a fight as possible.
Yeah, definitely. We're on lap 9 of this race, and yeah, we are now. I think this is when the dead inters are going to struggle, and maybe this is the other part of batting on the inters is that the tyres are going to dig out before it gets the slicks. So yeah, this is another intrigue of the race there. And Morgs now, once he clears Rich, I think we'll see his true pace. Once he clears Rich, and he should do it down the hanger straight. Rich is just all over the shop here, and I don't think Rich will fight this too much. I think he knows, but he's on the battery, so maybe he's defending a little bit there. But Morgs gets such a superior exit. He's going to get it done. He's going to fight around the outside. He does. Rich is going to have to back out of it there because he's on the bad line there. He's going to come in the pits. Nope. As I believe we've got a comment that's saying that the One-Up logo is covering up the race laps. I don't know if maybe that could be just a little bit, but that's what we've just got to mention in the chat for that. As Salo has overtaken Gaza in club. What nice move there. But Gaza gets good exit, but he's not going to run out of road surely.
I don't know. He looks like he was going to hold it down the inside there. It doesn't look like he does in the end, and it's just going to hold up behind Solal. Yeah, it might be something that we need to speak to Lukey about after the streams in terms of sorting that graphic out. So that's fine. It is lap 10 of 26 at the moment. Mike again going back into the pits and again getting another 10-second penalty as he's actually retired from the session. So our first DNF of the session, sadly being Mr. Iverson Mike. Very unfortunate for him. I know Silverstone's probably one of his better ones as well. I think it's just where it's in the rain. It's not a track that he wants to drive in the rain.
Same for me. I was looking forward to the race until I got the weather, but I did all right. But yeah, no, my teammate was just just kicking cats or sort or whatever. But yeah, other people love it obviously. But yeah, as a Rich Solo is still taking Rich there, so he's up to 5th now. Now we see the cheap he's front too. But look at the gap. Moggs has pulled on Solo. He's pulled 2 seconds on Solo, so he did a much better job through the traffic. But the gap between the leaders hasn't really changed that much. You have to say Papa and Larkin are doing a great job on these dead tyres.
Yeah, and they've kind of just been going to and fro with each other in terms of their fastest laps. As Mikey now going around the outside of Gazzaman, going through Stowe. The other Aston Martin is now on a charge like his teammate. Gazzaman manages to get the move back done on Mikey, manages to hold the position for 8th, as Moki and Joe going side by side now through Stowe as well. Seems to be a bit of a popular overtaking place for a few of these guys. Moki manages to hold on up ahead of the Mercedes, and it's invited now Welsh Benjamin to try and go for a move for that 12th position as well. But yeah, as you were saying, Larkin all over the back of Papa Squatch. As I say, they've been going at each other for the whole of this race so far. Even when the guys are on the set of the wets at the start, I'm really surprised we have not seen one of these two maybe make their way into the pits and try and jump up ahead of a few of these guys.
Yeah, because they've still got 2 stops to make, and I think Moggs is now starting to wheel in. The gap's starting to close a little bit, but 23 seconds. If they pit, it's going to be very tight on the pit. So that is going to be. Obviously, the pit loss will be slightly less in the wet because you're not going fast on the track in the wet. So that'll be intriguing to see. As Papa and Larkin I think Larkin he's just being sensible. He knows he can't really get moved in the wet. He's just trying to stalk trying to stalk his opposition. Maybe he may do a cheeky undercut. Yeah, I think they're holding out for the dry because the track is getting drier. But can Inters do half the race? Yeah, I think they possibly can, but the rear tyres won't be feeling that nice. And I believe as Papa's in a good lap there, he's put in a nice little gap, and Quinn's doing a solid job in 3rd as well. I'd say shout out to Quinn, doing a great job there in 3rd place.
Yeah, he certainly is doing a good job. And Mikey getting the move now done on Gazzaman. Again, massive tank slapper coming out of Stowe, though. He's going to invite Gazzaman to try and get that position back off of the Aston Martin. And he's not going to go for that move. He's just going to sit behind the Aston Martin and try and follow him as much as possible. As Moggs now getting the fastest lap of the race. 1.2 seconds now behind Jess. And Jess is now going to start to see that Aston Martin is in her rearview mirror and is going to start to think maybe it's best for her to try and make a pit stop. But I wonder if she's also going to if it does end up turning dry anyway, both of the Red Bulls going to try and play maybe a bit of a team game. Maybe Jess going to try and hold these guys up.
Yeah, it's interesting. Could Jess hold this? If he can hold them up for a lap or two, then that could make all the difference when Papa Larkin pit. Because at the moment, I think Moggs will be a couple of seconds ahead of Larkin when he pits. But yeah, if Jess can hold them up for just a lap, even a lap, it's going to make all the difference here, as the track is looking drier and drier, but we're still a couple laps away from the slicks. As Moggs knows he's really gaining on the leaders, but as soon as he just catches this Red Bull, and Jess has a big moment out of Cops, and then Moggs will go for it. He's going to go for it here, and yeah, Jess didn't fight that too hard. I think once Jess got out of Cops, she knew the game was up there, and yeah, Moggs used a bit of battery there to get the move done, and it's worth it. Because look at that, that was a crucial move for him, and he lost virtually no time behind the Red Bull.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for Jess, but very good move from Moggs. He needed to get that one done as soon as possible. Quinn now, as you said, I know you gave him a little shout out earlier, but yeah, he's doing a very nice job at the moment. He's in absolute no man's land. 8 seconds behind the next guy and 12 seconds in front of the next guy. So I think Moggs has got his work cut out for him if he wants to catch him before all these guys make their first pit stop. But yeah, Moggs is doing a very, very good job manoeuvring his way through the field. Same with Salal. Both of them have done a very good job in terms of that. Mikey's trying to follow suit. He's about 6 seconds behind Salal. So yeah, Mikey, we might even see both of the Aston Martins on the podium for this evening.
Yeah, definitely. They're looking really strong. I have to say, Mikey, they're quite impressive. 2 rookies and really strong races so far. As we've had a message from Mike, apparently his wheel wasn't working, that's why he had to retire. So he gave it a go, but he had wheel issues, and hopefully Mikey get them fixed for next week, so I can maybe see you do a little cheeky Iverson Mike in Montreal.
Iverson Mike over in Canada with multiple chicanes. I'm sure he's going to absolutely love that one. Larkin, quite interestingly, has lost out quite a bit of time to Papa Squanch. I don't know what's happened to Larkin, but I don't know if he's just had a half spin or what. He's now 1.5 seconds behind Papa Squanch. So maybe, just maybe, we're going to start to see Larkin. Maybe we might even see Larkin come in at the end of this lap because he looks like he is struggling on these inters.
Oh, Papa's in.
And yeah, Larkin's coming in as well. So yeah, maybe these guys thought it was the best time to come into the pits. As Mike actually put in the chat saying lap 16 is when the engineer thinks it will stop raining. So these guys are the front three coming into the pits now when it's been predicted that the rain is going to stop in about 2 laps time. But then, of course, we know from the adaptive weather system, it's going to be raining again later on. So
yeah, it's interesting because if they were going to do that, they should have pitted 3 or 4 laps earlier. I think when Moggs and Solo were in traffic, I think they made a mistake there. Because I think Moggs will take over the lead. I'm pretty sure of it. It's Papa and Larkin come out the pits. Good pit stops for them too, but it's not going to be enough as the Aston Martin will take lead. What about Salo? Can Salo get the second place? It's going to be side by side with Williams. Salo and warmer tyres should get this done into the loop, and he does. And yeah, that didn't work out for them here. Papa, is he going to send it up the inside? No, I don't pick up the tyre grip at the moment. But yeah, Larkin lost a lot of time there. I think Larkin's tyres gave up in the last 2 laps because he was really struggling for sliding. So I think maybe Larkin in a dirty area, Papa maybe lost a bit too much on the tyres as Papa's going to send him inside into he's going to send him inside here and he's going to get it done around left field, is he? Yes, he gets it done. The fresher tyres do prove superior. Now Moggs and Solo have the issue that Papa and Larkin had. They're on older tyres now. They're going to hang on till it dries up surely. So they're going to have to try and hold these guys back because once they get through, I think they'll be far ahead as Larkin going to be inside the cops. We saw Red Bull and Mercedes race here before, and this one ended a bit nicer than that infamous one.
I was literally just about to say, I think we're seeing another Hamilton versus Verstappen here. This time, though, the Red Bull is the one that comes out on top ahead of the Mercedes. But yeah, like you say, Squanch and Larkin, they have both got those fresh intermediate tyres as the 2 McLarens just trading places. I think Gazman didn't want to try and hold up Quinn too much in terms of that. So yeah, both of those guys on the fresh intermediate tyres, they're going to be significantly quicker than both Solau and Moggs in terms of this. So that's probably why they waited it out a bit longer. The rain is definitely easing up, and you can see the drops are almost, well, they've almost disappeared, but it also then determines when the Jess coming into the pits as well.
Jess go slicks here. I wonder if Jess will go slicks here. I'm going to keep an eye out for this. I wonder if Jess may gamble on a set of slicks.
Possibly. I mean, the rain has stopped.
Well, it's another set of inters. Oh, well, Jess had to wait another lap and just chuck the slicks on because I think it's going to. But obviously, you got the worry of the pit stoppers. Brydog gets a 3-second time penalty. It's our first penalty for invading, as I believe Larkin is on the back of Moggs. And look, Larkin and Papa, we missed that, but Papa and Larkin have took the lead already. So that shows you how much Moggs is struggling on these old players.
Yeah, so the fresher inters, of course, being a much better tyre in comparison to both Moggs and to Salau as well. Yeah, I think I'm quite surprised Jess did come into the pits at that lap because Joe has just come in and chucking on a set of the medium tyres. As I said last lap, or as I said a couple of seconds ago, it has stopped raining. So it's just going to be when we're going to see the elusive DRS being enabled for a few of these guys to maybe make their way into the pits before it dries.
Don't think they're far off. I think we're about maybe a lap or so off as I'm going balls with Joe through the loop, and it's a bit slidey, but I think once you get his tail to temperature it might work out for him because the track looks dry to him. I think the track's greasy at the moment if anything, so I wonder if these guys, it might be just a one or two laps, these leaders, are they going to pit? I'm not surprised if Salo comes in the pit too. Obviously Salo, maybe Joe may be pitting for his teammate to get data, because obviously they are teammates and do communicate. Maybe Joe sacrificed his race for his teammates' race, so he can tell his teammate when the right time is to pit.
Yeah, it certainly could be. As Papa Squanch not setting the fastest lap of the race. Mikey is also coming into the pits, so I think he's also doing the same thing. Rich coming into the pits. Now this is going to be the interesting one. Rich has opted to stay out. This is his first pit stop, and I think he is going to be going on a set of the dry tyres. He waited to go on these tyres. He's waiting for this rain to stop. As Mikey has gone in inters. But Rich going on the softs.
And that's an interesting call. The softs, they are They are all right, but I couldn't manage them. But I think the softs, they can get you a good 5 or 6 laps in the race. But maybe Rich thinks it's going to rain earlier than everybody else, because he's not going to get softs to the end if it doesn't rain. So I think Rich is gambling on a bit more rain towards the end. Obviously, he's still got another stop to make, I believe. So yeah, he's definitely got to pit again. So maybe Rich had to go on softs, I think, really, for having one stop left to go. I think that's just I think that's a smart call by Rich there to go on the soft, because he has to do another stop.
No, he certainly does. And this is the elusive lap 16 of what Ivan Mike had said, that the engineer thinks it will stop raining. And there is the DRS enabled, and Larkin is within that DRS. So DRS is now going to be enabled, and Larkin has got that rear wing open on Papa Squanch. He's not going to be close enough to go for a move. Both of these guys are on a set of the intermediate tyres. Are we going to see them come in, as it's actually started raining again now then, Jamie? Wow. So the raindrops have started to come already.
Oh, this happened in our race. It's dried up. It dried up, and then I came in the pits for slicks because I think it's going to dry up. And literally, soon got the pits, it started raining again. So this is it's very weird. It's going to have half a lap of slicks. So maybe Rich had to pit anyway. So I think Rich maybe just thought, I'll just chuck that softs on. I just want to go drive for 2 laps and just come in again. Because obviously, if it is a jump track, softs are the best tire to have. But yeah, it is starting to rain again. So. Oh, this is just interesting, because obviously all the leaders still have to pit again, so they'll pit for another set of minutes. Larkin now takes lead over Papa. They're going to go side by side. Larkin is struggling a little bit. Papa's struggling a little bit. I think Larkin's got his tyres in a nicer condition at the moment, and I wonder if Larkin may go for it into Cops, as Papa is really struggling for rear traction.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And I'll be honest with you, I think the guys that are going on a set of the slick tyres, or that went on a set of the slicks, yeah, they get one pit stop out of the way, but at the same time, I don't think it was their best call. The only one I can understand doing it would be Mr. Rich 500, because that was his first stop. But the rest of the guys, if that was their second stop, I think they may have had a bit of a strategy blunder with that. They knew that it was going to be raining again. They just didn't know obviously when it would be raining again. But
Larkin has to get this move done. I think this is the last lap of DRS, so Larkin will have to get this move done now. Round the outside into Stowe corner. Papa, they defends it quite well, and Larkin cannot get the move done. I think next time we go, I believe the DRS may be disabled as now Papa comes in the pits, surely for another set of inters.
It's got to be for the second set of inters, surely. But yeah, Mugg's also coming into the pits as well. Surely they're not going to go on a set of the dries. They've seen that the rain has started again. I can see dry. Oh no, I can see intermediates for.
Oh no, I can see dry tyres in the Red Bull in the Aston garage.
No, he's actually gone on another set of inters. Yeah, so these guys are going on a new set of inters.
He probably did a last minute change in the pit lane. You can do that in your pit lane. You can make a last minute change. He probably did that there as a Larkin. Now, how long will Larkin go? Do you think Larkin may hang out for a safety car here? Do you think he may bit of clean air, may just do some quick laps and pit? If I was Larkin, I'd stay out a little bit longer and maybe do a few quick laps in clean air. Maybe try and get a bit of a delta at the end, as Joe picks up a 10-second penalty for being in the pit lane, and that will get added on to his race time. This is his last pit stop. So yeah, this is going to make the race very intriguing. So it's good to see that the weather, it's like P1, P3, where it was dry for 1 lap. So I don't know if that's going to be what's going to happen in P1 as well, but different in practice. I don't know why in practice session it was different. I don't know why it's been like this in the race tonight, but there we go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose if it was like that in P3 and it was like that in P2, you've got to be expecting it to be the exact same in P1. So, yeah, very, very interesting strategy of what's going on. But Squanch and Moggs and Salal, they've all done their 2 stops now. In fact, let's actually have a quick look in terms of who's done the stops. So, yeah, Larkin now coming into the pits. Larkin, Waze, Richelieu, Rich 500 and Gazaman, the only ones yet to do their 2 stop. Larkin is coming in, as you say. I'd be assuming that Waze is also coming in at the end of this lap to chuck on a fresh set of intermediate tyres. So, yeah, that means that those guys would have done their second stop. And then just a couple more that are yet to do their second stop of the race. We're now starting to see a couple more 5-second time penalties are being, 3-second time penalties are being given out. Now, they're the guys that are on the inters, not the ones that are on a set of the dry tyres. So I wonder if they are really struggling on their intermediates, even though there are only a couple of laps done, as Rich and Rydog on their dry tyres have both sped into the pits. So that is the 10-second penalties that they're getting. But yeah, I wonder if it is. I know DRS got disabled, but Rich and Rydog were keeping up with the rest of the intermediate runners. I wonder if it was still
Yeah,
borderline crossover of the dry tyres compared to the intermediate tyres.
it's very weird because it just seems like I think at the moment this track's not really suited to either tyre. It's like it's that where it's just really greasy, and obviously you do get a bit of sliding with the slicks, but the inters just heat up. So it's very interesting. As Larkin came out the pits 1.5 seconds behind Papa, so Papa got a nice undercut, but Pab did that extra lap. That may be a factor in the race, so keep a close eye. And I look at Moggs in third. Moggs having a great race in third, actually ahead of Salo. So these front four have been the class of the field tonight, you have to say. And Mikey having a good race there in fifth, but yeah, the front four have just been the class of the field so far.
Certainly are, but Mikey is now under pressure from Quinn. Quinn, of course, a very impressive qualifying from him, and he's now all over the back of the Aston Martin. Mikey does have a good exit in comparison to the McLaren, but McLaren is going to be using a bit of that battery to try and catch up to the back of the Aston Martin, going down that hangar straight. I don't think the McLaren is going to be close enough to getting anything done on the Aston Martin, but there's always another 7 more laps for them, or for any changes to go down. Again, I'll keep you updated with the lap counter. We're on lap 20 of 26, as you can't see it from the stream due to the overlay, which we will get sorted out for next week, so we can only apologise in terms of that. But yeah, we're on lap 20 of 26 at the moment. Papa Squanch in the lead with Larkin 1.2 seconds now behind the Williams. Moggs in third with Solau in fourth, Mikey in fifth, the 2 McLarens in sixth and seventh. But I think one of the McLarens might be looking for a move very, very soon. Weapon Brovel getting the move done on Rich 500 down for 13th, 14th. Waze is in 8th with Benjamin in 9th. Fade running out the top 10. Jess in 11th with Richelieu in 12th. Proverb in 13th with Rich in 14th. Rydog in 15th. Moqui in 16th. A very disappointing second half of the race, I'd say, for the Kick Sauber, as they were looking to be one of the sort of like the midfield, even potentially running towards the top end of the field in the qualifying side of things. And then Joe in the final position. Mike, of course, being our only DNF so far due to wheel issues. Anybody that's surprising you at the moment here, Jamie? I mean, it's been a very good race so far in these instances, despite the amount of gaps that we've got. Anyone surprising?
I think Mikey's my biggest standout so far. See, new to the league, as I believe I might put a curse in there. This is a big moment in Chapel, but Quinniff was a bit further back than he was last time. But yeah, Mike had a big surprise so far. He's definitely had a very impressive first race. He's asking guys, they can get a lot of constructors points at the moment, as Gaza is still yet to make his second stop. So Gaza's the only guy left in the race who has to make a second pit stop.
Yeah, so we'd be assuming we'll be seeing Gazman in the pits probably in the next lap or two for a fresh set of intermediate tyres. Maybe he's going to I was going to say he might opt to try and go for the fastest lap. That is currently being occupied by Joe with a 31.8. So with his dry tyres, I don't think we're going to be able to see anybody get that fastest lap from Joe. So I think Joe's going to be quite happy that he picks that up for this evening.
You can get 1 point at least. Obviously, you get a fast lap inside the top 10 and outside top 10. So yeah, you will be getting a point at least for his race as long as he finishes the race. He's got to finish the race to claim that point. So you can't just quit out now. You've got to finish the race to claim that point. As Jess in 11th place is very close to back of Fudged. And you say Quinniff and Mikey, when Mikey makes a mistake, Quinniff isn't really close enough. But when Quinniff, but speaking about the leaders are getting very close together, and I believe Larkin is now starting to get a bit more comps back on the thing, but now no DRS, so this is going to make the overtaking a bit more difficult for the Red Bull man.
Yeah, it certainly does. It might be better for Larkin to actually try and come in at the same time as Papa Squanch, but yeah, I think Larkin just wanted to sort of drive in some clean air. He's now got to try and re-overtake the Williams once again. As you say, not very easy to overtake around Silverstone, so we'll see if the Red Bull is going to be able to get the move done on the Williams very, very soon. 4 attempts of a second separate these guys. The closest one at the battle on the field with, of course, Rich and Rydog battling that out down there for 14th and 15th, respectively, for them as well. Yeah, it's been a very good race. Papa Squanch has done very well to hold off Larkin for as long as he has. We've got 5 more laps left to go to see who will be the one that comes out on top between these two. or if a safety car ends up coming out and squeezing up the field, that would make things very, very interesting then. Do you reckon we'd see more pit stops if it does end up coming out?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. I believe some of these guys will pit. Obviously, Gazza will have to pit, but somebody like some guys at the back, you may as well just pit and chuck another fresh set on. You're going to lose nothing but the front runners will have to stay out. I think because you want track position because your overtaking is so difficult. So I think we'll see less pit stops than you did in the last game because in this game track position is more powerful than ever. But I've not seen a single yellow flag or race. I'd say these guys are driven very considering the conditions. Well, I've seen a few slides, but I've not seen any spins or anything. I've said these guys have kept it super clean, and it's great to see. Maybe safety car may have made the race a bit more interesting, but it made a bit more closer. But it's been interesting even without that, and the driving standards throughout the field have been very impressive.
Yeah, it certainly has been, and as you say, we've not really seen any yellow flags other than the fact of when Mike ended up retiring because of his law issue. We haven't seen any yellow flags come out for anybody spinning or anything like that. So, yeah, been a very good race. Very clean race from all of the drivers so far. So, give ourselves a pat on the back. Of course, we still got 4 more laps, so anything can happen within them 4 laps. But yeah, it's been kept on very nice. As Gazzaman now coming into the pits, so he is taking his final stop now. Promotes Waits in the Ferrari up into 7th position. So, yeah, very, very. It's been very close as to what's been going on so far. However, there are just massive gaps now here, there, and everywhere. As Ride Dog and Mokri picking up a 3-second time penalty. I'm assuming out of the same corner going through Stowe. There is a massive train actually going on from Proverb down to Mokri for those 4 positions. But with all of the penalties that they've got at the moment, I won't be at all surprised. In fact, Ride Dog actually got the move done on Walking Proverb before turn 1. So. Not sure what happened with Proverb there, but it just looked like he kind of let the Haas go through on him. I don't know if it's because of the penalty side of things. Yeah, Rydog's got 19 seconds of penalty, so he probably just said, yeah, go on, you go on ahead. I'll happily sit behind you with those penalties.
Yeah, definitely. It's whoa, Proverb. What massive slide he had there through Fan. Wow. How did he manage to hold that? But he lost a lot of time there. Yeah, Proverb. Oh my God, that was save of the century. But he lost 3 places because of it. But it could have been a lot worse. His tyres are definitely shot. Wow, he's really struggling big time. And Gazza could get a point here. He's got no penalties. The guy had him in 12 as 4 seconds ahead. So Gazza may still salvage a point out of this race there. But wow, business side Proverbs, massive slide there. But how do you keep that on the track? I do not know.
Yeah, he did very, very well to keep that one in check. So, yeah, fair play to him for being able to hold that one up ahead. I'm very surprised he managed to. Yeah, now he's got a bit more work to do to try and get himself back into the points. But like you say, yeah, Gazman, he is on for a set of points on his return into One Hub in P2. So, it'd be very nice to see him get a set of points at least for this evening. Yeah, the only one without a penalty within that bottom 6. So, yeah, we'll see if he is able to get a point out of any of these guys. On the fresh tyres as well, you've got to be assuming that he'd be catching up to them pretty quickly. So, we'll see with that. 3 more laps left to go. Solal now starting to close up to the back of the Aston Martin of Marks for that final podium position. Larkin still just keeping the same gap between himself and Papa Squanch. It looks like it's been there's been times on the track where Larkin's been quicker. There's been other points of the track where Papa Squanch has been quicker. I think particularly through Maggotts, Beckett's and Chapel, we've seen the Williams be that much quicker than the Red Bull. It's allowed them to stay up on ahead. Just going through the rest of the lap. All of that, I think just through Maggotts and Beckett's alone, it's allowing Papa Squanch to stay up ahead of them.
Yeah, he just seems to get the better exit through. And that's the key. If you get Magnus Beckett's Chapel right, you just, especially in the wet conditions, there's no way you can get past because he's getting the superior traction out there. You gain 2 or 3 tenths through there. And obviously, I think Larkin's going to be dirty air through there. If you're in half a second car ahead, but he's going to get the dirty air effect. And yeah, and I just don't see how, unless Papa makes a mistake, I don't see how Larkin can get it done because they've got similar pace throughout the whole race, and it's gonna take a special move for Larkin if he wants to win the race. But same for Solo and Mo, because they've been fighting each other all race basically on the all contra strategy. Obviously they're on the conventional strategy on full wets, but it's proven that the contra strategy out in non-inters maybe the quicker one, because they got that clean air when Moggs and Salah lost. I reckon lost about 5 seconds, more than 5 seconds fighting them slower cars. So I think the strategy played a part in this race. Sounding was the right call.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it was the right call for these guys. Same with Mikey as well, I think, and Quinn. They were the ones that started all on those intermediates, and they've played that strategy to perfection at the moment. Papa Squanch, he is doing a solid job of holding up ahead of Larkin in this race, and I mean, I think it looks like he will do, unless he has a massive mistake. I think we're gonna see Papa Squanch stay or take the win of this race at this current moment. Anything that's going on behind, Gazaman is now caught up to the back of Mokwe for 14th position. Still, I think that's 1.3 seconds behind Rich and about 4.5 seconds behind Rydog. But again, in terms of their penalty side of things, Gazaman looks like he will be taking the points for this evening. Yeah, Larkin has now dropped back 1.1 seconds behind Papa Squanch, so I wonder if he's pushed it a bit too much and is now starting to struggle on these intermediates as we're now onto the last lap of the race, and Papa Squanch is the one that is holding on at the moment. Solal is still within 1 second on the back of Mogg, but I don't think he's going to be able to go for any sort of move. If he was maybe a couple of attempts
he's too far
faster, yeah, I think he would have been on the back of that Aston Martin.
Good race for him, but yeah, he's just a bit. Moggs just did a better job in the traffic on that second stint. Yeah, Solo is really. Tyres are gone. He's really giving it. As he's getting very wet indeed. Actually, it's not far off full wet at the moment. So this is. These guys will be thankful it's a final lap, because look how much wetter the track is now. It's getting very close to full wet. So yeah, they'll be thankful it's a final lap for sure. Another couple of laps and they've been struggling.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're struggling right now, to be honest with you, from the looks of everybody. But yeah, I think if there were a couple more laps, we may have even seen a couple of people go in for a set of the wets. I've just seen Larkin go very wide out of cops. I've also just seen Moggs do the exact same thing. So yeah, these guys are all struggling on their intermediate tyres. Few slides here and there as Larkin, again, a massive tank slapper as he makes his way up towards Chapel. So yeah, I think it's been a very hard race for a lot of these guys. It's been a copious amount of strategies that have gone on between a few of the drivers, and the ones that have come out on top, starting on those inters, was the best way to go about it. With 2 more corners left to go, the Williams of Papa Squanch, he started on pole. He will take the first win of One Hub season number 27 in the P2 tier. Larkin comes across the line 7/10 of a second behind the Williams as well. Melks in third on his debut, I believe, for One Hub. Solal in fourth. Mikey on his debut for One Hub as well. Going to be taking 5th position. Very good result for both of the Aston Martins and their first race for One Hub. Quinn is going to be looking to take 6th position. Waze will take 7th with that penalty. Benjamin is looking like he's going to finish in 8th. Fade will be 9th, but will end up getting jumped by Jess. And in fact, Richelieu also almost getting up to the back of Jess and almost going for a move, I think. It was the iron upper move into that chicane, but doesn't manage to go for anything. Finishes in 10th in the end. So Fade ends up finishing 11th, Rydog in 12th, but that is going to be dropping down significantly as Gazaman is the one that jumps up into 12th position. Mokwe in 13th, and Whoopin' Proverb in 14th, Rich 500 in 15th, Rydog in 16th, Joe in 17th. Picking up a penalty. Yeah, a 10-second penalty.
Went wide. It's still, yeah, 10-second penalty. A bit harsh there, but it doesn't really affect his position because he's last anyway. But yeah, he's run out of fuel, I'm pretty sure, because he'd be glad this race is over. But yeah, look how wet it got at the end. It was almost wet to start the race. I was quite amazed how wet that got at the end. That was incredible. Yeah, but a great win there for Papa. He converted pole into the win, and he made the right call on the tyres. You have to say, credit to him and Larkin for the calls on the tyres, and they got them first and second.
Yeah, done very well with each of them. Obviously, congratulations to Papa Squanch for taking the win for this evening, and we'll be leading the P2 tier for this season, or to start us off in the season as well. So very, very good result. Driver of the day in game was Fade. Cleanest driver being Salah. Fastest lap, of course, being Joe. And most overtakes was Waze in the Ferrari. But I say, there are your full results for this evening. So Squanch in first with Larkin in second, Mods in third, Salah in fourth with Mikey in fifth, all the way from 11th on the grid. Very, very good result from him. Quinn in sixth with Waze in seventh, Welsh Benjamin in eighth, Jess in ninth, Richelieu in 10th, Fade in 11th with Gazaman in 12th, Mokwi in 13th, Whipping Proverb in 14th with Rich 500 in 15th, Rydog in 16th, Joe in 17th with the fastest lap of the race, and Ivan and Mike are only DNF up for this evening. Someone in the chat also saying justice for my boy Ivan and Mike. But yeah, what a race that was indeed there, Jamie. Also, we need to get on to our, I think it's Nick wants us to call it the Sim Racing Setups Driver of the Day. You know what? I will let you go first. Who would you say was your driver of the day for this evening? Don't know if you're there or not.
Sorry, I muted myself. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going to go for a guy on his debut, getting a podium. I'm going to go for Moggs. I'm going to say, yeah, great race there. Third place, amazing pace. I'm going to say, well done, mate. Podium debut. He was very happy about that. Do you regret not starting on the inters? Because I think you could have won the race if you started on the intermediates. Or do you think starting the wet to white cold? Do you think you maybe didn't have the confidence enough to start on them intermediate tyres?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That's a very good question for him indeed. In terms of my driver of the day, it's a bit of a boring one, but it's going to be the person that ended up taking the win for this evening, Mr. Papa Squanch. Being able to hold off Larkin throughout all of that, playing the better strategy as well, by doing a bit of an undercut on the Red Bull. I think you can only tip your hat off to him. So he's going to be my driver of the day. And what I'd like to ask him, you went for an alternate strategy on starting on the intermediates, and it played off perfectly. Is this going to be a sign of things to come that we're going to see for you for the season? Are you going to be able to try and hold on ahead of the likes of Solal and Larkin for the title for this season? And yeah, have you got any final thoughts on that race at all there, Jamie?
No, yeah, I was going to say, well done to all the drivers for keeping it super clean. It made an interesting race, and obviously, because of no safety cars, it let the strategies naturally play out, and we saw which one was the fastest. And yeah, I was very impressed with everybody in that race for keeping it on the track, because I bet them last two laps did not look nice at all. I'm glad our race didn't get to that the last two laps, because on dead inters, that would not have been fun at all. But yeah, fair play to them, and well done to everybody finishing against a great race. And the good news is we've got 11 more races of this, and I can't wait.
Certainly the same for me as well. I could not agree with you more. So thank you to everybody that has tuned in for this evening. We do need to sort of wrap things up ASAP because the P1 tier is about to start. So I'll wrap it up as soon as I can. Yeah, I need to get in there ASAP. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys are checking out our socials of One Hub Racing on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. So yeah, make sure you're checking that out on the YouTube channel as well. And thank you again to all of our partners of Next Level Racing, Sim Racing Setups, Pure Sim Grid, Vespertine, and just the Sim Grid as well. So thank you to everybody for that. Again, thank you for joining me alongside this evening, Jamie, and to everybody watching. And we'll catch you guys next week for round number 2 around the Montreal Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.